The government is exposed to mass amounts of information, secrets and documents that we are unaware of, whether it's for our own good or because they don't want to leak important secrets to the world. But sometimes things get leaked. This is the top 5 scary pictures that the government tried to hide from you. In at number 5 we have North Korea. North Korea is one of the most strict and repressive countries in the world, so it's safe to say they like to hide a lot of things about their country from the rest of the world. Many things in North Korea are illegal, and these certain things that we in the Western world would think is nuts. For example, it's forbidden to take pictures of the daily life of the North Korean people that are not well dressed. Photographer Eric Laforge visited this mysterious country a whopping 6 times to try and understand more about the people, places, and the strict authoritative way of life. Eric wasn't interested in the carefully orchestrated tourist trips revealing only fake North Korea facts. He wanted to go beyond that, to catch a domestic glimpse of the land and people that aren't under the complete control of the regime. "I was treated like any other tourist," Eric stated. "They didn't allow me to take pictures of the police, the army, etc. But with a 300mm zoom lens and a seat in the back of the bus, I could take so many." He shot thousands of pictures showing citizens and government officials going about their everyday lives. "As soon as they were opening a new area to visit, I tried to go and see it, documenting the life in North Korea." After Eric returned home in 2012, however, the government discovered him sharing secretly taken North Korean photos online. They demanded him to take down the images. "I refused as I showed all the aspects of the hermit kingdom, the good and the bad, just like I do with any country I visit. I refused to make an exception for North Korea and they didn't like this." Soon the regime banned Laforge from crossing its border ever again. Kim Jong-un is so strict and many things about North Korea not shown to the world and kept very secretive. We may never know what else they are hiding. In at number 4 we have Tank Man, China. On June 5th, 1989 there were protesters at the Tiananmen Square and the Chinese troops began violently cracking down on these pro-democracy demonstrators who had been in the square for over a month. Jeff Widener watched and photographed as a man confronted the lead tank, standing directly in front of it. The tank stopped and tried to go around the man. The man moved, and at one point during the standoff, the man climbed aboard the lead tank and spoke to whoever was inside. The man was eventually pulled away by onlookers. To this day we don't know who he is or what happened to him, but he remains a powerful symbol of defiance, and the Chinese government did not like this and didn't want the world to see their people disobeying authority. Practically any image that so much as gestures at the famed photograph of a man in front of a line of tanks risks deletion from the country's closely monitored web. Recreations showing a line of books approaching a cigarette package, a swan before an oncoming truck, or grasshopper in front of a tire have all been removed. The Chinese government's utmost priority is discouraging unified anti-establishment action, but does more than prevent political unrest. Jason NG, the author of Blocked on Weibo, states that clearly it is not only protests that are being censored. There is some sort of intentionality, he said. "It's fascinating to think through the moral reasons why things are removed. How does the government try to shape social mores? How do they try to shape culture through censorship? Some removed images are unsurprising, depictions of state-sanctioned violence, cartoons disparaging government leaders, and aerial shots of protests. All images, even harmless ones, of top Chinese political leaders are banned, except on official websites and approved blogs." In at number 3, moon landing, flag flying in the wind. One of the biggest conspiracy theories is the first moon landing was real or faked by NASA with the help from the US government. The most famous picture shows Buzz Aldrin planting an American flag in the soil of the moon, and it appears the flag is moving, clearly showing the presence of wind, which is impossible in space. NASA says Aldrin was twisting the flagpole to get into the moon's soil, which caused the flag to move. In the late 1960s, the space race was a competition between nations regarding achievements in the field of space exploration, and that was the United States' motivation. They wanted to win the space race and be the first ever to land on the moon, ahead of the Soviet Union, and they would do anything to be the first and beat out all of the others. Conspiracy theorists claim that NASA faked their landings to avoid humiliation and to ensure that it continued to get funding. NASA raised about $30 billion to go to the moon, and this could have been used to pay off many people. Since most believed that sending men to the moon was impossible at that time, they argue that landings had to be faked to fulfill JF Kennedy's 1961 goal that before this decade is out, we will land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth. In fact, NASA accounted for the cost of Apollo to the US Congress in 1973, totaling $25.4 billion. Virgil Grissom, Edward H. White, and Roger B. Schaefer were three astronauts who died in a fire while testing equipment for the first moon mission. It's theorized that this was no accident, and they were in fact executed by the US government, who feared they were about to disclose the truth. Due to the power of the government, we may never really know the truth of the moon landing, but since this famous photo was released, it had been highly criticized, and the government and NASA have done everything they can to get it off the internet and keep the world quiet. In at number 2, banning of Winnie the Pooh in China. For many, Winnie the Pooh and his gang was something we all grew up on, was pivotal in our childhood, and is ingrained in our memories of growing up. But China banned Winnie the Pooh, so many kids may never know of these cute characters. The Chinese government gives internet censorship a whole new meaning. The Chinese name for and images of the plump, cute cartoon characters are being blocked on social media sites because bloggers have been comparing him to China's president. It started when Chinese President Jinping visited the US in 2013, and an image of him and then President Barack Obama walking together spurred comparisons to Winnie the Pooh walking with Tigger. Jinping was again compared to the fictional bear in 2014 during a meeting with Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, when they had one of the most awkward handshakes ever, and then the internet responded with Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore shaking hands with side-by-side images showing both. And then there was the time the president popped his head out of the roof of his special red flag limousine to inspect the troops, and after that photo appeared online of a toy of Winnie the Pooh popping out of his own little car. It is not only that China's censors will not tolerate ridicule of the country's leader, they do not want this beloved children's character becoming a kind of online euphemism for the Communist Party's general secretary. In other countries, such comparisons might be thought of as harmless enough or become a funny viral meme, but not in China. Even in 2018, when the film Christopher Robin was coming out, China had banned it from their country. And finally, in at number 1, we have UFO sightings. Unidentified flying object sightings have been reported throughout history in various parts of the world, raising questions about life on other planets and whether extraterrestrials do in fact exist. The first well-known UFO sighting occurred in 1947 when Kenneth Arnold claimed to see a group of 9 high-speed objects near Mount Rainier in Washington while flying his small plane. Arnold said he thought the speeds were several thousand miles per hour and they moved like saucers skilling on water. That same year, a rancher named Mac Brazel came across a mysterious 200-year-long wreckage near an army airfield in Roswell, New Mexico. The local papers reported it was the remains of a flying saucer, but the US military issued a statement saying it was just a weather balloon, even though the photograph of the mysterious object suggested otherwise. Throughout the next few years, sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena increased, and by the early 1950s, people's obsession with UFOs was skyrocketing. This led the CIA to prompt the US government to establish an expert panel of scientists to investigate the phenomena. The panel was headed by H.P. Robertson, a physicist in California, along with other physicists, an astronomer, and a rocket engineer. These group findings said that these sightings could be attributed to astronomical and meteorological phenomena or earthly objects such as aircrafts, balloons, birds, or searchlights. Parts of the panel's report were kept classified until 1979, and this long period of secrecy helped fuel suspicion of government cover-up. It has been highly debated that the government is covering up these sightings by the public to shut them up and give them false answers like these UFOs are just military aircrafts or weather balloons. Many sightings of UFOs have been seen in the area around Area 51, which is a highly classified place in Nevada. Area 51 is used as a government base for secret military Air Force activity, and they have a connection to classified aircraft research. It wasn't until 2013 did the CIA publicly acknowledge the existence of the base and the true work they do at this secret airbase. It's not known by anyone. Area 51 is so secretive that they have armed security around the perimeter and signage advising trespassers that deadly force is authorized. The base also is equipped with high levels of security like surveillance cameras and motion detectors all over the place. Remember when everyone was going to storm Area 51? What a time to be alive. Well, there we have it. Thanks for tuning into this video. I'll see you in the next one.